Welcome to Positive Waves. My name is Matthew Collinson, and this is my great friend.
Hi, I'm Joseph Somma.
And today we have a new guest on, Linda. She lives where I used to live in New York. So I'm super thrilled to have you on, Linda. If you could give yourself a short introduction and about who you are and where you come from in life so that people can kind of get to know you.
Well, thank you. And thanks for having me on, Matthew. I appreciate it. So I'm Linda Crist, and I call myself a multi-passionate conscious expander. I'm happy to learn and grow as much as I possibly can. Right now, I am growing into a position as a community and network builder that is focused on empowering women to recognize their gifts and serve others. So I'm trying to do that as a facilitator of positive mindset.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you, you coming with your experience, and I'm excited to really get on the path of this journey that we're on all together, and then also the community that we're building with Positive Waves. Today, we're going to be talking about how to grow yourself and how to lead yourself down the path of life. And this will be fun because there are so many perspectives on this, and we're all kind of personal development junkies here. So it'll be a blast to figure out where we all go with this. So what are your thoughts on this, Joe?
Oh, when you first presented it to me, I had one of those moments of, oh yeah, I can speak on that. And then when it sat down, I was like, can I really speak on this? But as I thought about it, it really falls back to a lot of what we talk about, or at least for me anyways, where it's finding out what you like and what you don't like, and then falling into what you're passionate about and pursuing that further. And rabbit hole goes deeper and deeper. But yeah, it's fun how we can constantly go back into that whole sitting within your heart space and finding out what it is you truly enjoy, what you truly are passionate about, and then having the courage to step into that unknown and start pursuing it.
Excellent. How about you, Linda? What are your thoughts when this comes to you?
So I love the term that you use, personal development junkies, right? And I think that when you have a growth mindset, you almost have to be a personal development junkie, right? And I love, Joe, I thought what you shared was beautiful. I look at growing your life, right, and leading yourself as serving the ultimate purpose that we're here on earth to do. And finding your passion and understanding what you enjoy is really figuring out what the gifts are that you were given and using them to serve others and to make this world a better place overall.
So what has been your journey on finding your passion, and like what was your experience in that as you've grown yourself?
So I've been my history of my life basically has been mostly in sales and marketing roles, and I've always been one to when I've stopped learning and growing within the organization or the position, I've always moved on to some other place, but it's always been within a sales position. And I'd say roughly about 4 years ago, I came to the conclusion that I didn't want to serve the organizations anymore and help other people, other businesses make money. I wanted to, and it wasn't really about money. It was really about just having a better purpose than helping organizations make money. And I started, I'm with an organization right now that empowers women. And part of what we provide are presentations, events with speakers who speak on all different kinds of positive mindset, personal wellness, and professional development. And just absorbing everything that they say has helped me to understand that there's something bigger out there, and I needed to explore that. So I don't know if I answered the question, but that's where I'm going.
I think you did. I thought that was beautiful. Joe, your thoughts?
I love that as well. And yeah, it's truly finding our purpose and enjoying this life. And
yeah,
it's great.
That's been a similar experience for me as well. It was like a few years ago, I found this global community that I'm now a part of that I've shared with you as well, Linda. And it's that whole mindset of we're always learning. It's a constant growth path. Like once you've decided to jump on that path, it's like you're not stopping. You just don't. You discover that you love this part of it. You love this part of it. Then you love this part of it. Not to mention it helps a person discover who they are, which I think is even more important, that finding that heart center, like Joe said, finding that side that serves the overall good, like you said, Linda. It is like realizing that we're all kind of on this earth flying through space at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So we may as well support each other, help each other, grow with each other, and really help each other to thrive, I feel. And I think that's a beautiful gift that you've been given, Linda, that focus of wanting to help people on the individual level through this creation that you are building.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how you are growing a community around this passion, around this idea?
The community itself attracts women who are probably in the same place I was at one point in time. Like there's got to be more to life than just getting up and going to work and serving your employer every day. And don't get me wrong, there's more to life when you're raising your children, right? And you're making a home for your family and you are friends, and you serve your friends, right? That's part of the greater good, right? Loving on people. But the community itself attracts women who are at that place. Like they've done that, raised their kids, they've created their home, and they're still serving another purpose and know that there's got to be something more. So when they come to the community and then they're exposed to the speakers that we have presenting, it sparks a little something, maybe little, maybe a lot. And they're all drawn to each other. And then what they do is support each other on the journey of learning and growing together. And they learn and grow together. So it's a beautiful thing to see it change women's lives in one way or another, whether they take a direct 90-degree angle or if they just expand what they're doing.
Right.
So it makes my heart so happy to see women really come to understand themselves and serve others in the same way.
Yeah, that finding self piece is so important for everybody. I think that we do that through those types of things, though. That's getting ourselves around different thinkers, really. Like you guys are bringing people together to speak about certain subjects. Mm-hmm. Those subjects will influence, and it develops that energy, that pattern that will expand throughout those people. And then that just goes further and further down the path. Of course, we all know the pebble in the pond. Yeah. So is that on like a weekly basis, a monthly basis, like that you do the speakers, or?
We do. We have a schedule throughout the whole year, and it's random. So we do some virtual events that are consistent on the same day of the month. And those are where the community really comes together. That's where the women have learned to support each other and share and learn from each other. And then we do some virtual events and some live in-person speaking events. And those are scheduled randomly throughout the year.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Since 2020, it's been amazing how technology has helped us all come together to grow in life. And I'm finding more and more communities like this. And I love bringing those communities together because as we make these positive shifts with everybody around us, that's just going to raise that conscious level of the world and help us get to where we really want to be, which I don't know about you guys. I'm tired of all the sadness out there. Like there's a lot.
Yeah.
We don't focus on it because what you focus on grows. But if we can focus on, if we focus on solutions, we'll be able to really build something here, I think, all together. And that's, I think, part of the growth of life is finding those others that want to walk that path with you.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask you a question. Focusing on the solution and creating the communities that want to just be empowered and focus on the positive and change their mindset to do that I'm thinking that it only helps for the people who really want to be there, right? I mean, what is
I would think
right?
so.
Yeah. So the difficulty in hoping that this, and I'm sorry if the difficulty in hoping that this can change the world, because that's really is my goal, right? We want to change the world. We want it to be a peaceful, loving place for all people, especially for the future generations and the children to come. But is it hoping and wishing and praying? Because if the people
No, I think it's pattern making, and it's really like learning those patterns and becoming aware that there are patterns that we can follow. That I was missing those when I was younger, for sure. I didn't know about any of these types of things. But as I've grown and like really educated myself on pattern following, trend following, and like personal development stuff, you come to realize that we can begin to integrate different patterns throughout the day in order to shift us a little bit at a time. Now, it's harder to do by yourself. It's easier to do with other people because you come together on a like weekly basis, for instance. It's a good example. And you're talking about how it shifts. And then once you start to recognize it and you do it more and more, it starts to develop that compound effect, which will bring your life to a different place than where you currently are.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's just prayers and hope. There is action to be taken, but first you have to be even aware that there are actions to take.
Yeah. I think that was where the point I was saying, like there are people who come to that understanding, like there's something I need to do to make this change. But until they become aware of that there is something they need to do to make the change, it doesn't change.
Or I think the cool part about the universe that we live in anyway, that I'm finding, is that when we are starting that shift or getting ready to make that change, you're going to have pattern interrupts happen, right? Those are going to be those random people that come into your life and be like, well, why aren't you smiling more? Or something like that. Or they'll do something way off the wall and then it'll remind you of something and you'll be like, oh yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing the way that the universe works too, right? They'll put those people in your place that might need to hear one little thing that you say that could make the world of a difference for them.
It is. And it's crazy just waiting for it or flowing with it or getting yourself into position to be ready for it too. That's another piece of it, I think. I think they all kind of add up and it's all little pieces of the puzzle though.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Joe, I see your wheels turning.
Oh yeah, there's a few things that have been popping around, but for me, Linda, it is a little bit of prayer, and then it is as well action, because you can pray for whatever to happen all the time, but until you recognize that you are the reason you're seeing this, so you got to get up and put that action towards it. And I mean, you're doing so. You're bringing women together. You're creating that space of unity, the building of trust, the realizing that I don't have to stay in that old habit. There's people here doing better things and I want to do that. And then when they go out, there's the ripple Matthew was talking about earlier, which creates that word getting out and it just spreads. I mean, it's a slow go, but it's going to spread and it's going to grow. And eventually we will have that positive shift around the world. I mean, it's happening now.
Yeah. Oh, so I know.
I can't say eventually. I mean, we're in it.
We're in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening. You can see the ripples happening all around too. And that's where it's going to, there's a lot of paths that can take. There's so many infinite paths in this world. So it's so hard to tell where something is going to go or what's going to happen. Like with the wars, for instance, that's kind of a scary piece for everybody, I feel. Yeah. Like, let alone the people that are in it. Like, it scares me for those people. Like, my heart goes out to them. I always radiate boundless love to those people. Or to the world, really. It's part of my meditations most of the time. I think starting in that internal self, though, is the key, and getting silent. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I thought you had something spark. I was like, cool, go. But how do you recognize that you're ready for a change? How do you recognize that you need a new growth pattern, a new way to lead yourself? Can you guys maybe answer that for me?
I'll share what my thoughts are, just based on my own experience, right? I think that part of it is who you come in contact with, right? And recognize something about somebody that's different that you want to achieve or acquire or be like. So part of it is making sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people and noticing the difference between where you're at and where they're at, and then just trying to achieve that. That's one thought.
I love that example. I love that example. We talk about that sometimes. We were just talking about that in another mastermind I was in, and it was everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah.
Like no matter what you're going to learn, you're starting either you're at the beginning of your journey or you're nearing the end of your journey piece of that part of your life. And whenever you start to recognize that, hey, if you're weak in an area, but you start to share that vulnerability with people and you start to open up and start to talk about it, that's when you start to gather the strength you need to kind of get from the downward spiral energy to the upward spiral energy, that gratitude shift, that little pattern shift. But it takes it's so crazy how big of a step it is and yet how little it is, because anyone could do it in a heartbeat to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as we grow that path, we get to shift towards that want, that need. And like you said, it's about surrounding yourself with the people that can get you there, that will support you in that journey. It's kind of what I do with people as well on my coaching side, because I'm a dream creator. So I just like to help people visualize and get what they want, how they want. But it takes time, it takes work, it takes consistency, and it definitely changes your patterns over time. That's what I love about, what's his name? Dr. Joe Dispenza. I love his meditations. They really kind of shift a lot of that. Have you done any of those kind of things, Linda?
I've not. That's one thing that I'm a little slack about, to be honest with you. Part of the problem with being a multi-passionate conscious expander is that my day is full from 8 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. And unfortunately, and I know it's an area that I need to work on, my self-care part of it is lacking. And I know that meditation and listening to podcast meditations are part of self-care, but I need to do more of that. And I wrote his name.
I think it's up and down. We all go through that too. We all get busy and then let life take us over. And then we're like, oh man, why am I so stressed? And then you're like, oh yeah, I haven't been doing any self-care at all. Yeah. What could be happening? So yeah, it's realizing that, but you recognize it now. You have an awareness of it now. So now the next action is to actually put it into the schedule, block the schedule piece. And that's the fun part. That's what I like about that community also that I'm part of, is that it allows us to track everything, tracks our goals, tracks our milestones, tracks those patterns that we're creating for ourselves to create the outcome we want. And that's what I want for everybody now. It really is. And it's amazing. I ran into you because of this whole thing. I wouldn't have run into you because of this. Joe, this is how I met Joe.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just the universe, right? Putting people in your path that are, we're meant to collaborate in one way or another to force the greater, not force, to make the greater good happen.
Yeah. What is that? Sorry, I was just thinking of that saying,
when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. Yeah.
Yep. And I think that happens all the time in all of us. And it's so fun to watch. Now you can watch for it though. That's the fun part, is when you recognize that, you're like, all right, who's going to be my teacher in spirituality? Who's going to be my teacher in meditation? Who's going to be my teacher in personal development?
On the flip side too, you can always look for a student, like who's the student that I'm the teacher to, right? We play both parts in this world. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the dichotomy of it. It's the piece you have to teach along the way as much as you have to learn. You need both.
Yep.
At least that's what I've been finding. How about you, Joe?
Yeah.
I love it because I recently came across that quote, but there was an additional line to it. where it was something along the lines of when the student is truly ready, the teacher disappears or something like that. And I was like, holy crap, because it hit me in a way. But like you said, Linda, not only are we the student, but we are the teacher. I mean, I even created a meme about that. And as we're learning, we're teaching what we're learning to those that we're reaching back and pulling up. So it's keeping that momentum going, that momentum of growth. Like for all of us that are sick of our own shit and literally want to stop the cycle, we are the people they find and reach out and, ask those questions when they finally become vulnerable enough to say, hey, I don't like doing this repeatedly in my life. How did you change? And that's where, your proximity becomes so important, because you start surrounding yourself with people that have what you desire, what you like. Oh, I would love to be like that. And then all of a sudden one day you are, but you're already looking at the next person. So that growth just goes and goes and goes. I love the process.
Yeah, I think it's important I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, as we go down this path of leading ourselves, something that I think is difficult for people is letting go of people that are currently in their realm that are not good for them. Because I think we all run into that.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the works of Abraham, who is manifested by Esther Hicks. It's a conscious collective. And the one thing that I remember from listening to Abraham speak is and what we're talking about right now is the elevator of life, right? We're riding up an elevator, and sometimes the doors open and you got to let people off or you got to let people on, and you just continue riding that elevator up, up, up. And again, it's, you have to travel with the people whose vibrational energy matches yours. And sometimes, unfortunately, you do have to let people off that elevator.
Yeah.
I love Abraham, and I think I actually missed that one, so I'm gonna have to go find that, because I enjoy that depiction. That's a great one to keep handy.
Yeah.
I think it helps when you become okay with it. You just kind of let it go when you realize that this person's no longer for me in my life, or it's time to move on. I mean, the pattern may bring you back together at some point in the future if it's meant to be, kind of thing. Like, I really kind of believe that. Mm-hmm. But then it becomes like fate talk, and you don't really know, because I feel like there's choice, but there's fate. There's choice, and then there's things to do. Or not to do.
I've always my whole life understood innately, and I don't know why, maybe for whatever reason, that we are and other people are on the same path and journey for one reason or another, right? We're there to learn from each other, to teach each other, to serve. And then when that purpose has been fulfilled, it's time to move on and serve another. And it's hard sometimes, right, to let go and walk away, but it's a necessary part of life, especially when you're growing and leading yourself.
I fully agree. Yeah. I think that's a beautiful note to end on. So let's have a final thought for growing and leading yourself, and maybe one piece of advice you'd give your younger self.
I'm going to let Joe start. Go on.
For the piece I would leave my younger self, I would definitely, like we were just talking about, the attachment aspect, because I was one that did not like change. I even wrote a Facebook post about it today. But I would tell my younger self to release the emotion. Don't allow yourself to be so emotionally attached to a situation. I mean, we can't let a flower grow if we're stifling it. We've got to let things blossom and bloom. There's a season for everything. And like your elevator piece, like, some people are going to come on, they're going to teach you amazing things. You're going to just love that person so much, but you also, if you love them, you got to let them go, let them do their thing, let them spread their wings and fly. So for me, to my younger self, it would definitely be, don't be so emotionally attached.
That's beautiful. So I think that if I had some parting words, I think it's important to continuously be seeking out areas where you can improve, whether that's by reading great books, by talking to inspired coaches and people in your network, by surrounding yourself with people who you want to be like or want to learn from and emulate, and just keep learning. And, because unfortunately, I think that when you stop learning is when you stop growing, and you might as well be pushing up daisies. But if I were to impart some words, some wisdom to my younger self, I would tell my younger self that it really doesn't matter what anybody thinks, and that you should forge ahead with what's true in your own heart and what you know to be true for the good of everyone else.
Beautiful. I love this group, man. Thank you so much for being here, Linda.
Thanks for having me. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a blast, isn't it? I love doing this stuff. This is one of my favorite things to do now. I guess I should give my point two real quick. So for me, life is a choice. You get to learn how you want to grow and lead yourself, but realize that choice and then start, like Linda said, go after it every day kind of thing. Like, make it parts of your pattern. You will grow into who you want to be. For my younger self, let go, man. Let God, let universe, just enjoy the journey, and always remember to love learning. Because I used to.
Well, that's when learning was imposed on you, right? And forced on you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. Please hit that subscribe button.